Let's deal in Michelle Malkin. She is Conservative Review editor and a longtime friend of this program. Michelle, good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning, friends.
So what did you make of the fact that this U.S. District Court judge, who was an Obama nominee, said about the president's travel ban 2.0, nope, that's really a Muslim ban based on what he's said in the past. You got to stop it all across the board.
It's surreal. And it is a huge usurpation of a basic duty and fundamental obligation that the commander-in-chief has to defend and protect the Constitution and this country. These people in black robes are tyrants. They are not neutral arbiters and interpreters of the law. They're prestidigitators, okay? They make up out of whole cloth these rights that are now being claimed by people from outside of the country. Basically, what this Hawaii judge has done is manufacture and fabricate a right to future immigration from all over the world. It is flabbergasting. And I want to explain, I think it's so important for people to understand here that there is a civic lesson. This is a plenary power of the president to make the decision about who comes into this country and why. And it's not merely for national security. He can do it for any reason. Make sure that this country is safe.
Right.
So the idea that Hawaii as a state has what's called standing, right? The right to sue because they claim some sort of damage or injury, merely because 70 Middle Easterners were not allowed to visit Hawaii last year, 70 less people. That's it? I mean, there are American workers who do not have standing in this country to sue because of harmful H-1B policies, and yet Hawaii can claim this.
Yeah, Michelle, we remember you wrote Invasion before 9/11, and you talked about the need to bolster our borders because when we don't know who's coming in, and everyone just said the book sold like crazy because you touched a nerve. A lot of people were thinking the same thing but not saying it out loud. This president says it out loud. It's America first. Here he is. He actually read what you just said because he said this is the rule. This is how plain it is that I'm allowed to do this while he's going to keep the fight up. Meanwhile, he tried to be politically correct while still pointing out the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. It's got a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, that's right.
The judge has just blocked our executive order on travel and refugees coming into our country from certain countries. The order he blocked was a watered-down version of the first order that was also blocked by another judge and should have never been blocked to start with. This is, in the opinion of many, an unprecedented judicial overreach. We're going to fight this terrible ruling. We're going to take our case as far as it needs to go, including all the way up to the Supreme Court.
Michelle, if this had happened right after 9/11, would we be seeing this same reaction from the Ninth Circuit, or would this have passed?
That's a really great question. Obviously, the further that we have come from 9/11, the more people forget what the fundamental duties of a president are. And this is why I support this president. This is why I voted for him, because if we cannot get this right, our very sovereignty is under threat.
And Michelle, I want to point this out. Some people are saying, well, it was just Orlando, it was just San Bernardino, it was just that thing in Texas. Well, what's the big deal? You remember in the summer, our FBI director says we have investigations going on in all 50 states for people somehow affiliated with ISIS. Our FBI is overstretched trying to keep up with the people who are coming here with evil intents, let alone the ones that have been radicalized by what they saw on the internet. So he is actually doing the hard work for law enforcement who is crying out for help over the summer and in the fall.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, between the problem that we have with the refugee resettlement racket, the inability to vet these hundreds of thousands of people who are coming from breeding grounds for jihad, along with the millions of people who have either overstayed their visas, who are evading deportation orders, the very message that Trump said was we need to reassess and stop. Every single bureaucracy that deals with immigration and homeland security in this country is overwhelmed. And he's attacked as a xenophobe and a racist, and he's attacked as the one who's usurping, the proper authority when it's all of these lawless Democrats and lawless judges who put us in peril.
All right. Meanwhile, let's move on to something else. Last night, Tucker Carlson sat down in a big garage with the President of the United States and a bunch of fancy cars behind him. And Tucker asked him about, hey, I saw 2 pages of your 2005 tax return. Where'd those come from? The President has an idea. Listen.
I don't know where they got it. This guy's been following me for 25 years. He's not much. And I don't know, I have no idea where they got it, but it's illegal. And you're not supposed to have it, and it's not supposed to be leaked. And it's certainly not an embarrassing tax return at all, but it's an illegal thing. They've been doing it, they've done it before, and I think it's a disgrace.
He knows exactly where they came from. They came from a leaker. And unfortunately for this president, he's got people in the permanent government, in the deep state, who are leaking left and right, trying to make him look bad.
Yeah, that's right. And while I certainly enjoyed the bust-up that this whole fiasco was, and I joked that the next Maddow bombshell will be 2 pages from his algebra test in 1990. There's a larger goal here, and the strategy is to entice more people in that deep state infrastructure to leak much more damaging things. And we've already seen that these blabbermouths are willing to do anything to take the Trump presidency down. It is a tough job that this administration faces every single day, every single hour.
Well, what they did, and Rachel Maddow did, is put all her credibility on the line. For 25 minutes, she talked about oligarchs, Russian links, Deutsche Bank, Saudi Arabia. It was incredible. And then they released the taxes that shows he paid 25%, $35 million out of $150 million. And she knew all along that she was building up to a giant thud. However, she's blaming us. She said everyone expected too much. And then she goes on The Tonight Show trying to save her career. Will she?
Yeah. I hope not. And she's a laughingstock not only among people who don't even watch that channel, but among many Democrats and progressives who know what damage it has done. I mean, here is President Trump, who has been making this very salient point about the fake news. And then on top of that, you have people who are trying to help salvage Rachel Maddow, like the New York Times, which thinks that there is something criminal with doing what's legal, which is try and do everything that you can to reduce your tax liability. They were out tweeting about it the last couple of nights, and yet their own paper was advising people in a big, huge financial section on how to reduce your tax liability legally. Thanks, fish wrap of record.
That's why the president says he has to go to Twitter, because he can't trust the mainstream media. They make up stories, they leak, they lie, he says. Now, in a Fox News poll, the people who were polled were asked, do they like that the president is tweeting as much? Look at the numbers. 16% approve, 32% wish that he'd be a little bit more cautious, so that's about 48%. But look at the number who disapprove, 50%, Michelle. Do you think he should continue to tweet?
I do. I am a huge promoter of social media and as a platform for circumventing all of these false narratives. And I think in a poll like that, what it shows you is that most people are not on Twitter. Why is President Trump on Twitter? Because he understands the utility of getting down into the fight and the battlefield with the largest and most prominent users of Twitter, the people who shape political narratives. Right. It's mostly liberal journalists in their echo chamber, and he has completely upended it.
Sure.
I say the more the better.
I think you're right. I think it is effective if it's about his agenda or it's something inspirational or about policy. But then when he does Arnold Schwarzenegger's ratings, you know, everybody's hair is on fire, and he kind of, it is not as effective. One other Fox News poll question was, how does your family feel about the economy? And this is stunning. Take a look. The top line, in October of this past year, 37% said it's getting better. But now, 48% says it's getting better, which is unbelievable, up 11% in about 6 months, Michelle.
Yeah, I think it's very significant, and it fits with everything people are perceiving about his ability to achieve his core agenda. People believe, and perception is reality, that he cares about American workers, that he cares about the American economy, and that he cares about American border security. He is accomplishing what he set out to do, and that's why so many, as you said, Steve, so many people's hair is on fire.
And Michelle, we should say, we're up against the break, but you did an investigative piece that's excellent on the dirty Democrats and what's going on behind the scenes. Where can we get that story?
Yeah, you can go to MichelleMalkin.com. You can follow me on Michelle Malkin at Twitter, and CRTV.com.
All right. Fantastic. Thanks,
Thank you, Michelle. Great to see you.
You bet. You too.